Good
evening.
Kia ora.
Good evening.
Kia ora. Hello, welcome
Hello.
back to How
Chili
Much...
doesn't like it when I make that noise. Good evening. He's just looking at me askance.
I don't like it.
Is it askance or ensconced?
Don't know.
Neither.
Askance. Oh, well.
That's above my pay
We don't
grade.
know. The listeners don't know. Who gives a fuck? All right. Welcome back. Episode 12.
13.
Very
13.
special episode. Well, who's keeping count? Big day. Big week for Dan. Dan got arrested for pissing in public for the third time.
He got tasered on
as
his
you know,
dick.
he's got his penis tasered. And as you know, there's a 3 strikes you're out for pissing in public. So Dan will be going to prison soon. But it's all right. We found an app that can do his job. So
Yeah.
the podcast will roll on without him.
Good news is, I think the justice system will realise the importance of what we're doing here and let him take his gear to his prison cell and hook him up with some Wi-Fi.
We were going to bail him out with the Patreon money, but then we spent it all on failed advertising on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Dan, you're going down.
So everything.
Actually, on that note, if there's any listeners that know how to promote stuff on the internet, turns out that we've all reached that age where we can't use the internet anymore. We just woke up one day and it's not working. So get in touch.
Yeah, mine started making the dial-up sound again when I try and work it now, which is really befuddling.
If you haven't already, sign up to the Patreon. We're up to 61 patrons now.
Yeah, and because
More than I ever dreamed of.
Because we missed bonus episode last week, we got a special one this week, and we're going to do something different. But if you do want to send some questions, and send them. If they're good, we'll answer them. But
Yeah, get your questions in.
yeah, sign up to that Patreon. Some of my best acts of contrition are behind the Patreon paywall.
It's true. And as we've said, being a Patreon, it doesn't just get you bonus episodes. You're not just supporting the podcast, but Dan will record, mix, and master your album for you, and Todd will strike at least one person of your choice.
Yeah. Dom's the only condition on that. Dan said he won't do any double albums, but he'll do a full length LP.
Mm-hmm.
The chance of him not being there or losing the album is about 50-50, so you take your creativity into your own hands when you work with Dan.
Hey, but it's essentially free because the Patreon's $1 a month minimum to sign up for.
Yeah, we prefer if you sign up for the higher tiers. We have it allocated who's in which tier, and we.
Why do you think we don't have more rich listeners?
we got a few on the rich side. Shit. Stop talking all this left-wing propaganda. We need to make this like an economics podcast.
Should we replace Dan with like a more capitalist guy?
We just start calling ourselves entrepreneurs. Well, Dan owns a fucking house.
Yeah, I know. Hey, rich guys, we're doing this with a potential landlord.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got an expensive dog.
Yeah, I've got expensive jackets and a walk-in wardrobe.
He does, listeners. I can't wait to have a rifle through there when I come to Melbourne.
Yeah, I can't wait till you can come over.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Dan with me too.
Yeah,
if he's out of
please.
prison by then.
Yeah, bring him over. Just maybe the day he gets out,
Yeah.
we'll have a big welcoming home party for him in Australia.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
They might be breaking his bail conditions.
We'll have a word to Andrew Little about that.
Does your mum know about you getting arrested? She listens to the podcast, eh?
Yeah. I
Sorry,
mean, I
Mrs.
was so young, she probably had to pick me up the last time I got
What do you mean? This happened last week. All right. Roll the music, Dan. Welcome back. A little bit older, a little bit uglier.
We couldn't get another producer, so Dan's back as well.
Look at this, Dan.
We can divulge all this now.
This is what Todd's been itching to get into.
I don't necessarily like him, but I respected him.
Well, everyone needs jewelry.
He's a maniac.
Further to him crippled.
This is an audio podcast, Dom.
Sure. What do you think, Dan? Yo, Dan. We're back. The listeners might not know, but Dan calls himself Machine on Zoom.
You said that. You said that on another episode.
Did I?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 12 of How Not to Be an Asshole.
You know what? It's funny that happened because I was just thinking today. I was like, what's some stories to tell on the podcast? And I was like, I think of like one of my interesting stories. They'll be like, already told it. And
I
then and then I also reflect, I'll be like, is that even that interesting? It's like, fuck, I've got nothing.
What about one of the 20 times that I caught the bus from Grey Lynn to Onehunga and then to record with Dan, but he wasn't home and wouldn't answer his
Flat
phone.
out lie.
And then I'd have to go all the way back home, and then I'd get home and Dan would be like, oh, sorry, just busy.
That's rough, eh?
What was he doing?
Hey, I was thinking,
Hour and a half each way, Dan.
listeners might have guessed by now, but we don't have a guest today.
No, I guess said he's got some drama going on and didn't elaborate, which could mean anything.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. But do you know what I was thinking might be fun?
What's that, Todd?
Well, I want to do an introduction for you, Dom.
No, for fuck's sake.
First,
I'm sick. I gotta put all this shit.
Okay, so today's co-host is Dominic Hoey. He's an author, writer. He's got a disease and a dog, and he thinks that if you wake up before 11 a.m., that's how you get sick.
It's true. I can read a poem about that later if you want.
Do you want to intro Dan?
Yeah. Dan Morberries is a studio engineer, a man of mystery. He has tiny little arms, but big ideas and a big heart. And he wants to make a difference in the world. When he's not recording rappers and standing them up and making them catch the bus all the way to Onehunga and then back again, fuming, regretting their life choices, he's feeding the poor. Dan Morberries, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck, that was so good off the cuff.
Thank you.
Why do I usually end up? Oh, it's because I'm better at pronouncing names.
Because I can never pronounce anyone's name, so...
Yeah, but it's a shame because, well, perhaps we'll work out a system.
Yeah, well, you can say their name, and I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I just say the name and then you make up some bullshit about it.
To be fair, I am pepped up on hay fever drugs, so it might not always be that good.
All right, can you do me now?
All right. All the way from Taranaki, the man with the giant head and even bigger ideas, hater of dogs, lover of annoying intros, likes a snack, big man but eats like a bird. That's the things that people might not know, is that Todd eats like a child, like a small, emaciated child. He picks at his food. He doesn't have proper meals. It's really frustrating when you hang out with him too, because you say, I'm fucking hungry. He says, I'm not hungry. Just eat a peanut. I've had a peanut 4 hours ago. And I'm full. I'm full of power. Used to love punching people. Doesn't do it anymore, but still loves it and will probably return to it at some point. Maybe he'll punch you, dear listener. Introducing Toby Williams.
Hey, thanks. It's good. It's real good to be back on the podcast.
Yeah. When I was sitting in traffic on the way back today, our guest had just cancelled because of drama, and I had hay fever, and I thought, you know what I feel like doing? It's talking for an hour about nothing.
Drama's pretty vague, eh? Do you want to speculate as to what it might have been?
I don't want to upset him, but it could be anything with him. It could be like business related. Could have murdered someone, and anything in between those two things.
Yeah, possibly it is business related because everyone in
the
Victoria...
world's collapsing?
Yeah, and like Victoria looked like it was progressing, and then they got a lot of cases yesterday or today. And
yeah, I heard there's community transmission again.
Yeah, everyone's freaking out again. But you know what's funny is from the enormous BLM march, 20,000 people, there's been no cases linked to the march. And I made a correlation there. I was like, oh, it's not a crazy idea that people who care enough to go out and march also care enough to be conscientious about not spreading coronavirus also. Right?
So you just think it's bad people that spread the virus?
Yeah, maybe.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I'm no...
bad bastards spreading that virus.
I'm no epidemiologist. Do you know?
I couldn't say the word epidemiologist before Corona, and now it's like it comes to me like that. So I mean, that's one good thing that's come of this.
I was gonna say that I was gonna let the listeners know that the actual reason we brought the podcast back was I just wanted to see if you could say epidemiologist.
Well, yeah, it's taken a while for me to get it.
You know, you said it wrong just a couple seconds ago. Eh?
Oh, who gives a fuck?
Say it again.
Epidemiologist.
Yeah, that's not it.
What is it?
Epidemiologist.
Deem. Wouldn't it be G? Oh, who cares? I hate science. Fuck, I hated science at school. I didn't mind biology. I fucking hated chemistry and the other one. What's the other one? Physics.
Yeah.
Fuck physics.
I also hated science, actually. And you know, when you get into high school and you think science is all going to be like experiments and test tubes and shit, and you're quite excited, then you get there and it's just shit.
I was talking about this with someone the other day. Don't you think it's amazing and insane that they give students like those Bunsen burners just all on their desks?
Yeah,
Like,
and flammable liquids.
Well, do you want to know a story about some flammable liquids in science? You know how at our school at least, they had like a cabinet where they kept all the flammable, dangerous shit in, and it has an extractor fan on it. But then someone took the extractor fan off to repair it, and then this other kid, shot skyrockets into there and started caused a huge explosion.
Fuck,
that was one of the best things that happened to me at high school.
It's pretty amazing, eh? Yeah. You could really, I guess, high school's a lot like capitalist society. It's way more fun if you start setting things on fire.
Another time, there was this kid that had quite bad anger problems in our class, and we had to dissect a rat, and all the vegetarians were like, "No, we're not doing that." And he wasn't vegetarian, but he said he didn't want to do it either. And then the teacher said, "You have to do it, he's not vegetarian." And he threw the dead rat into the face of the teacher.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it was exciting.
That's pretty ballsy. When I was in a, what do you call it? A SIF's home, but I guess that would be Oranga Tamariki now. And they were fucking mean, like abusive people. And one day they tried to make me kill these baby birds in the backyard with a fucking rock. And I refused.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I refused to do it, and I got punished for it. It was some real psychological fucking torment going on in that place.
That's surprising. I wouldn't have thought that SIFs would do things like that.
Oh man, that place was awful. I don't want to go down too much of a dark path, but so I put in one of those claims to get compensation from the government for like neglect or abuse in state care, and it was a fucking farce. Like I got some money and shit, but just trying to explain to them, because they wanted specific instances of abuse, and like you have those, but it's like what they were missing was the overall kind of effect over a long period of time, or even a short period of time, that stuff has on a child. And yeah, they're pretty reluctant to acknowledge that shit. So
how much money did you get?
$10,000.
Are you allowed to say? $10,000.
Yeah, and it was real.
It's not really enough, is it?
Nah, and like the money just felt burdenous because I felt like I had to do something smart with it, but partly due to my experiences in the care of the state, I'm not very good with money.
You bought some fancy shoes and got really drunk for a week.
Yeah, while other young people were learning how to handle money, I was getting taught to kill baby birds with a brick.
I'll let you on a secret, Todd. No poor people know how to handle money. It's not just...
Yeah, I do figure I would be as good with money as I currently am.
I'm so fucking bad with it. It's just insane.
Do they give you like an apology or just money?
You get an apology from the Minister of Children, and so they go through the process, right? And then they like say, they go through all the things and they say, we'll accept responsibility for this. We won't accept responsibility for this. We will admit that you were wronged here, but we won't accept responsibility for this. And basically what they try to do was abscond their people of any wrongdoing or any harm, and just like have it placed on outside parties or like employees that could, eat the shit. But and so they go through that, and then they're like, okay, so these are your options. And obviously they bring up the money last, but like one of them's like, and we can send you out a signed letter from the minister, a signed apology. And I was like, what am I gonna do with that? It's like,
do you still have it?
I do. It's pray at my mum's house.
You should see if you can take a photo of it or make it the image for this podcast.
Yeah, I don't really want her to rifle through all that shit because it'll probably upset her.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, because it's in with all these.
Dan, can you just whip up a little Photoshop
on
OT certificate?
And another interesting fact about all that too was, so they sent out all my case files back as well, and in that home, one of the caretakers had just like hit me one day, like proper hit me, not like a fucking, like he hooked me in the face. And while I was there actually, and apparently I told my social worker, and my social worker talked to the caregivers, and they just kind of like apologized, and then they left me there. And they were like, oh, yeah, crazy, right?
Fuck.
Oh dear.
Was
Yeah.
this like a group home or like a placement with a family or something?
Nah, like a group home. Yeah, it was sick. Fuck, we started off real cheerful way, sorry.
That's all right.
Do you want to talk about something funny?
I've gone off Twitter.
What do you mean?
I've just had enough of Twitter.
Ah, yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
depressing. It's so just. I was like, why am I anxious? And I was like, because I keep fucking reading the fucking thoughts of people who I don't give a fuck about or outrightly disagree with.
Yeah. Well, I kind of made a pact where I was like, I do enough of my life that's political and that's about community and shit that I don't need to engage with any of that shit on the internet. So I hadn't been like engaging in any political shit. No serious, like I was just not doing any serious shit on the internet because I was like, I don't need that. But because of events that have happened recently, I've been engaging again. And I guess, yeah, it's like, fuck, I don't know, I prefer those just to see funny shit on the internet and not.
I like political stuff, but I just like, because that's why I'm on there really, is because I follow a bunch of activists and artists and stuff who, you know, like something will happen and I'll be like, oh, what does this person think about that? Or like,
Yeah.
or, you know, like I don't totally agree with that. I wonder what, you know, and you sort of get like a range of views. And I think that it's been really, I've learned a lot, but fuck, man, some people, and sometimes it's people you really like as well, but they're just like,
Yeah.
not good at the internet.
Yeah, hard art. I think, yeah, it's a real good way to stay informed. Like, you know, heaps of the BLM coverage has died down in mainstream media, but Twitter is like full of it. Like, you can stay updated with what's going on there, and there's still crazy shit going on. Like, what happened in Washington today? Or yesterday, all the press got told to like get out of the area, and yeah, like some real unprecedented move apparently.
I guess the trick to do would be to start another account and only follow those people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the worst idea. Or you can just use our How Not to Be an Arsehole account, because they can, you know, we only have to really follow people that come on the show.
Yeah, true that.
Which is, I'm presuming we like everyone that comes on the show, largely.
Yeah, I don't know, fuck it. But I've got too much social media in my life anyway.
Yeah. I was with some Australians on the weekend, and I don't know who the band was, but have you guys heard of the Australian band Sticky Fingers?
No.
No.
You can tell how terrible they are by their name. But so someone was playing a song, and then there was some dispute because apparently the singer got Me Too'd, and it got into quite a heated debate, and I was just sitting there like, this would be a real easy one for me. Like, I couldn't understand anyone wanting to die on the Sticky Fingers hill because it was garbage.
Yeah.
So I did raise the point. I was like, whilst I don't condone the actions of the singer, and I have a problem with that personally, perhaps we could just make this simple and look at the fact that the band sucks, and that's a good reason not to listen to them. But
How'd that go down?
yeah, they weren't really trying to hear that.
Really?
Yeah, there was some AFL on the TV as well at the same time. I was really embedded.
I don't miss that side of Australia. The terrible music and the sports and how everyone likes fucking AFL, like the whole country.
Well, mostly Victoria, but other states as well.
Well, no, but everyone, you know what I mean? It's not like in New Zealand, you're not going to go to a fucking protest or you're not going to go to like an arts event and there's not going to be people that like the fucking rugby there.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, rugby's a real blight on New Zealand. I used to like it, and fuck, I think that massive run National had really killed off any fucking support I had for the All Blacks.
Fucking bastards.
Ah, bastards, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, I figured, since we don't have a guest, Dom, I've actually been hit up by a couple of listeners in person. So personal friends of mine who listen to the podcast, and they're like, oh, one of them's like, I'm going to sign up for the Patreon, then I got a good question for Dom. And the other one is a patron, but they haven't asked the question yet. So do you want me to hit you with some...
Yeah, hit me some questions.
I wonder if I'm ruining it for the listener who wanted to ask the question. Oh, fuck, they can think of another one, eh?
Hard out. There's more than one question in the world.
Okay. Do you want to start with the more somber or the funnier one?
Funnier one, please.
Okay, good. So my friend Marcel, shout out to Marcel, sounds like he listens quite a lot, but he was wanting to inquire about the tooth story.
Have we not told this on the podcast?
Nah, I don't think so.
All right. So many moons ago, I was working in a shoe shop in Melbourne with my friend Mel, and I would have been probably 31, and she was 18, but she was the manager. But as you
she
can,
was just a kid, eh?
Yeah, but as you can imagine, we didn't really pay much mind to anything she said or anything, you know, like, because it was a shitty job, and the boss was a creep, and.
Also,
anyway,
Mel didn't actually care either.
Mel didn't really give a fuck, but she just like,
Yeah.
Can you not steal in front of me, please? I was like, well, don't watch them when I'm stealing. But and then one of the other co-workers came in and he was like, oh man, I just had my tooth out. And I was like, can I have it? And he's like, yeah, all right, that's weird. And then I took it, and I was living with Mel and her boyfriend at the time. And so I went into their room and I put the tooth under the bottom sheet. And then I was sort of waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened for a few days, and I forgot about it. And then one night I was lying in bed with my girlfriend, and I heard this, oh my God, check your mouth. And because I told my girlfriend what I'd done, and she was just, we were both in hysterics, and they were just screaming, and then it just went dead silent, and then I heard this, duk, 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 and then a knock on my door, like, Dominic, do you know anything about this? And they're holding the tooth. I said no. That's a tough story.
The funny part, another funny part of that story though, is that so Mish woke up and found the tooth during the night and checked his mouth and then just went back to sleep. Like he didn't
check your mouth. It's such a weird thing to do. Like, as if you don't notice that your fucking tooth's fallen out.
Yeah, and but he didn't wake Mel up to check if she was missing a tooth.
Because I thought the joke would be, you're like, oh my God, someone's tooth's come out in our bed. Not like my tooth has come out and I haven't noticed.
Yeah, well maybe imagine, fuck, it'd be even more perfect if they had that dream where all your teeth fall out that night.
Mm. Yeah, no, that was probably the height of practical jokes.
Yeah, that one went better than you could have imagined. What about the mouse? Do you know?
Oh yeah, like one time, there was a dead mouse in the kitchen, and my flatmate was wearing quite baggy jeans, and I just dropped the dead mouse into his back pocket, and I'm sure that he noticed, because he kind of turned around and was like, what's that? And I was laughing, and I didn't think anything more of it. And then about a week later, he found the dead mouse in his back pocket, but completely flat, like he'd been sitting on it for like days. And
he was at dinner in a restaurant when he found it.
Serious.
Yeah.
And it had been so long that I'd forgotten that I'd done it. And I was like, oh, dead mouse, that's a bit gross.
See, Marcel loves these stories, and
really?
Yeah, he loves to have a discussion about them because I think he checks in with Mish sometimes and asks him, has Dom admitted the tooth yet? And because he was under the impression that you'd never like admitted to Mish that you did the tooth.
I definitely had to Mel though, because I remember we were discussing it.
Yeah.
Another one I did was that.
The cat.
Yeah, so I would tell them that there had been a big. Because how did it start? I think I found some orange fur. We used to live down the end of this alleyway, and I think I found some orange fur in the alleyway, or there was some orange fur from somewhere, and I put it in their room, and then I told them that this big orange cat comes into their room when they're not there and sprays everywhere. And so they got really obsessed with trying to catch this fictional cat and got really worked up about it. Yeah.
Have you done any practical jokes on David Bench?
No, he's not really into that kind of thing.
Mish definitely wasn't into that kind of thing.
No, but that's what made it good. Whereas I think David would just kind of get a bit confused and then laugh about it.
Right. Okay. You won't get that.
Dan would be someone good to play a practical joke on.
Do you think? I don't think he'd get very you wouldn't get a huge reaction out of him.
I'd get confused though.
Yeah. I had a good. Where is it? No. Oh, have you guys seen The King of Staten Island?
No, is it good?
Yeah, I really like it. Do you like, what's that dude? Pete Davidson.
I don't know who that is.
Comedian.
Do you know? Is he a comedian?
Yep.
Right. He was in another real good film I watched recently as well. One where he's got this girlfriend and the girlfriend's little brother becomes his mate and the girlfriend breaks up with him but he just stays mates with this kid and has him smoking weed and just going to parties and shit. And he's the two roles I've seen him in, he essentially plays the same character, just like a dropkick, mid-20s-year-old guy. But there's something about this dude that does he remind you of people you know, Dan?
No, kind of. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, because there's something real likable about him. I was like, I think he reminds me of...
I don't know, this is not that interesting, but he used to date Ariana Grande.
Yeah, from that meme, right, where it's men who need therapists, right?
I'm not sure
I don't know
about
what
that.
you're talking about.
Another one.
I've been rewatching the X-Files.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's good. One thing is that Mulder's way hornier than I remember. He's always watching porn and he's got porn all over his X-Files office and shit. Hard out.
Really?
There's one scene in the second season where it starts off and he's watching porn and rewinding it, but you can't see it, you can just hear the sound, and then he gets a call to go and investigate a monster or something and he has to leave.
Really?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's another one where there's woman ring up and leave, this woman rings up and leaves a message on his answer phone and is like, Mulder, you stood me up for our dinner, and he's like, oh. And
Do you remember he was in that, he does look like a horny little...
The Red Shoe
creep.
Diaries. Yeah, so I wonder if some of it is a play on... Because I've never seen that, but I imagine that... Because X-Files was right after that, and so I wonder if it's sort of like a play on some of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, there's... For people who don't know what we're talking about, on Sky... What Sky channel was it?
I don't know.
There'd be soft porn on Sky anyway, after midnight. And there was one, that always played called Red Shoe Diaries, and David, is his name David Duchovny?
Yeah.
Yeah, he starred in one little soft porn.
Actually.
Yeah.
But he was the host, the kind of, not the host, but he was the character that linked everything together, wasn't he?
Mm.
It wasn't just a one-off role.
Nah, yeah, he was the star of...
He was the Red Shoe Diary.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
Wild.
His career must have been looking too shit hot back at that point.
I think he was pretty young when he did the X-Files, though. But anyway, to any listeners that haven't seen the X-Files, definitely recommend it. It's shitty enough that you don't have to pay all your attention, but it's good enough that you can kind of keep going. Because it was kind of the beginning, I guess, along with Twin Peaks, of prestige television. It was the first TV show I remember watching that wasn't of those American shows that had a bit of an arc, even though the arc doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah. I have no fond memories of X-Files, but I guess I didn't really watch it at the time, I don't think. I got Jane Deasy recommended an Australian show to me called Rake yesterday.
Rake.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I might have a jam tonight.
Do you want to hear this poem I wrote about the early birds? About getting up early?
Yes, please.
Right. It's called Early Birds Eat Worms. It's for the zine that I'm doing with Josh Solomon, which should be out some point this year, hopefully. Early birds eat worms. My ex used to say nothing good ever happens between 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. She was trying to explain how the dawn didn't desire watching me sharing my dinner with the footpath, sanity stuffed in my pockets with my debts, yelling about mothers or money or some shit. But the feeling is mutual. I hate mornings, alarm clocks, bad breath, silent and confused in the kitchen, a cup of coffee strong as the urge to chuck my life in the recycling bin, hunters and or gatherers preparing to perform the ritual, throwing ourselves to the rapids, stay busy lest we learn the last names of our passions. Mornings were invented by the government to keep us stupid. Viva la laziness, waking to the house holding its breath, the day a whisper like a world without cops, money or bosses. I am going nowhere, bedridden, saving it all for lovers, saving it all for art, saving it all for slow-cooked nights, empty streets, man-made stars, ripping my life to shreds, putting it back together inside out, carving my name into the moon, then sleep, and in my dreams I never have to pay rent. The night doesn't lie, not like morning, sunrise propaganda, birdsong, car horns, traffic, deadlines, dead time, nah. Let me sleep through it all. There will be no mornings after the revolution, believe me. What do you think, Dan?
Hey.
Yeah.
Just really like that.
That's it.
Do you have a plan how to like ban mornings once the revolution comes?
I could just shoot anyone that gets up before 10 a.m. You'd only have to get rid of kill a few of the fucking early risers, and then the rest would fall in line, I reckon.
So you're going to be like the Joseph Stalin of sleeping in.
Mornings. It'll be like a completely egalitarian society in all ways, apart from just fascism around when people wake up.
Yeah.
Either that, I guess we could put all the early risers in one part of the city, like they could sort of be the undesirables that do the work that no one else wants to do.
I guess that's where I'll be living then.
Yeah.
Gutted. Hey, I forgot the second question.
Here we go.
Yeah, so this friend, they were like, I want to ask Dom about his disease, but I don't want to be rude. Does he mind talking about it? I was like, he wrote a whole fucking play about it.
Certainly did. Award-winning play.
Yeah, so they wanted to know about your disease.
Anything specifically, or just...
Yeah, I guess maybe just a general, like, prognosis.
Prognosis? I don't know. The doctor said when I got diagnosed, he was like, yeah, probably take a few years off your life, but I wouldn't worry about it. But
nothing to worry about.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. And a few years is really vague too, because it's like, well, am I going to die in the next 10 years, or like, will I only get to 75?
How old was the doctor? Because you can get a gauge of their perception.
It's hard to tell with doctors. He was older than me, maybe 50.
I think the older the person telling you a few years, the worse it is, right?
True. So I have a disease called Ankylosing Spondylitis, which is a form of arthritis where your body...
Sounds like a tropical fish.
It took me so long to learn how to say it. I still can't spell it. But it's where your body attacks your bones because it thinks that they're like a foreign body or foreign agent, I think. And then your bones defend themselves by growing together. And so your bones will end up fused together. And so when you move, sometimes you're breaking little bits of bone apart, which is obviously quite sore. What's that, Todd?
I said Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know what else about it. You get brain fog, so you can't remember things. So the more astute listeners might often notice that I start saying something and then trail off. What else happens? Just lots of pain, really, and I'm shrinking. I've shrunk almost 2 inches in the last 5 years.
Have you actually?
Yeah. Have you not noticed?
Nah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
There's a photo of me and Christina standing together when we first met, and I'm almost the same height as her, and I'm so much shorter than her now.
Hey.
Yeah.
How short do you reckon you could get?
Most people lose, but well, not everyone shrinks, but people can often lose up to 5 inches.
What causes the brain fogs? Like,
I think it's like your brain gets inflamed, or like the other theory I heard was that the energy, because there's so much, all your energy in your body is, like what is it? The pain I don't know, something to do with pain and inflammation and.
Yeah, well, if you think about dealing with pain, it takes a lot of energy, right? Like when you get a big tattoo, at the end of it, you're exhausted, but you've just been lying down.
What's crazy though, how like, because I'm in pain all the time now, but the low level pain, I don't even think about it as being pain. And it's only when someone like asks me and I'm like, yeah, I'm always in pain. But then the real bad pain, you know, is like, it's like nothing I've ever experienced. Like it doesn't happen that often. It probably only happens like once a month. But it's like, if I got hit by a car once, it's sort of a bit like that.
Damn.
Jesus.
Do you think you'll get short enough for me to put you in a front pack?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. It's okay. We could just roam around doing the podcast like that. Like Dan could carry all the mics and shit. I'll have you in a front pack.
Dan on the back.
Yeah, we'll just.
Fuck, can someone please draw that? Anyone who's good at drawing?
You found the unicycle, the unit, not unicycle. What was it called? The tandem bike video.
Yeah. It's a shame. I was like. Because I looked for it when we were making the promo for the grand reopening of the podcast, and it didn't seem to be there, but just looking the other day, found it.
Yeah.
If people want to see Dominic and I on a tandem bicycle, it's not that exciting, probably.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's way down on my Instagram feed somewhere. Go back about 4 or 5 years.
You should save it and share it again.
All right, I'll save it and I'll share it to the How Not to Be an Asshole Instagram account. Hey, I did some, since I figured we might be short on podcast fodder today, I did some research.
Oh, sweet.
Inspired by a tweet I saw the other day. So I saw this guy who's like a big Labour head, and he was tweeting and saying that people who want to vote for Chloe for the Auckland Central seat should consider voting strategically for Helen White. Is that her name? Yeah, Helen White. Because she just lost by a very thin margin to Nikki Kay last time. And I was like, well, this presumes a lot. Like, this is the first time Chloe's running in Auckland Central. And I dare say she's a much more exciting candidate than Helen White. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who Helen White is, but I guess that says a lot in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't you think that Auckland Central's just overrun with rich assholes now? That it's hard to imagine they vote for Greens.
Well, I went through and looked at like the last few elections, and like for almost everyone, because Nikki Kay's held the seat since 2008 now. Almost every single time she's won by less than 1,000 votes. So it's always been, really thin margins. But I feel like Chloe's probably going to campaign harder than whoever Helen White is.
Nikki Kay got sick, eh? She had cancer or something.
Did she? She looks unwell.
Yeah.
I thought that was just being a Tory. You know how Tories all old and ugly. So I figured that happens to you quickly. You know, like that Katie.
Obviously not a fan of her politics, but I was worried about her. I was like, don't look well. And it'll be such a stressful job. Do you think I should write to her?
Expressing concern.
Yeah, as a fellow sick person. Because I saw her, there was a debate at university, it was a long time ago now, but it was like socialism versus capitalism. The debate was a fucking farce, but she was on the capitalist side, obviously.
Yeah.
But she was sort of like young and fresh-faced, and I guess we're all old now, but it was quite interesting because she seemed confused at why people were so angry with her. Like she'd sort of espouse some kind of neoliberal trickle-down theory kind of thing, and then people would just be screaming and throwing things, and then she was like, what? Like, I was like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess you're not really insulated from criticism as a prominent or a known politician, are you? So you'd think you'd be accustomed to it.
Also, I just want to point out to listeners, I wasn't commenting on being like, oh, she looks like shit. I was just saying she looks unwell. It wasn't like a...
Yeah.
like there's that thing where people attack female
Yeah.
politicians on their looks.
Yeah. No, but
I was genuinely concerned for her health.
I believe you, but I don't know. I can understand why people would find it hard to believe you.
Well, that's why I added that caveat to it.
Yeah, no, nice caveat. Really
Thank you.
nice. Do you want to know some more Auckland Central seat facts?
All right then.
Labour held the Auckland Central seat from 1919 to 1993.
I wonder what started happening in 1993.
What did happen then?
Gentrification is when it really ramped up.
Ah, yeah, right. Oh yeah, it would have been that time. Fuck. But it's since the change, it's always been closely contested, and I think the biggest number of votes anyone else has got in that seat that wasn't a Labour or Nat MP was Nando Tanchos. He ran 3 or 4 times, and to give it some kind of some clarity, Nikki Kay has been winning with around 14,000 votes in recent years.
14,000 or 1,400?
14,000.
I thought you said that one of them was like contested by 1,000 votes.
Yeah.
So how's she winning by 1,400 then?
No, that's the total votes.
Oh, what, the total votes?
Yeah.
How many people live in Auckland Central? I thought it would have been a lot.
You'd think it'd be heaps more. I guess a lot aren't voting.
True.
But yeah, Nandor, I think he got up towards 7,000 in his best year.
True.
Yeah.
Bring back Nandor.
Yeah, or vote for Chloe. I reckon she could take it.
Yeah, I don't know, but don't you...
The thing is, it is true that the vote will get split between her and the Labour.
And those people, she's up against not only sexism, but then also ageism. I suppose that they're all women, though.
Yeah. Isn't there a lot of young people in Auckland Central?
I guess. I don't know. Who the fuck could afford to live in Auckland Central? Actually, some of my students do. And I'm always amazed. I'm like, where do you live? And they're like, Grayla, and it's great. And I'm like, they must be paying, at least $200 a week for their room.
Yeah. Remember when you're young, you're kind of willing to do that, just to spend every penny you have on rent.
But I remember paying I remember when my rent went up to 160, and I was like, what the fuck? For this massive room in Grayla. And I was like, this is bullshit. These fucking landlords. And then when me and Dave, before we moved into this house, we were looking at a house in Grayla, and we were talking about it. It was $1,200 for a 3-bedroom house. And it was nice, but it wasn't $1,200 nice. And I was just like, there's just no way you could make that work.
So even if you had 3 couples, which you wouldn't want to fucking do.
Yeah.
It'd be $200 each a week.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big house.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty mental.
Well, what do you think about strategic voting in an instance like that?
Yeah, I think it's important, but I think that that's a cynical move from whoever that was, because I don't think that, like you say, it's not that clear cut. And I think that Chloe obviously has a lot of support. I don't know who Helen White is, and I imagine that a lot of people don't. And then Nikki Kay has obviously got a big name, but then I think that the people that like Nikki Kay are never going to vote for Chloe and vice versa. So I think, I don't know. I do also wonder with younger people if they will be less likely to go along with that kind of, there's just been that thing for as long as I can remember where it's like, I want to vote the Greens, but I better vote Labour because da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people, especially people in their late teens, early 20s who are just voting for the first time, they seem a lot kind of more political and angry and less sucked into that kind of bullshit. So
yeah,
that could be interesting. But I just can't get my hopes up about anything anymore.
No, that's a good point.
Because every time you do, and you're just like, oh, sweet.
But yeah,
everyone loves John Key. Or, we voted for Trump.
I feel like, it's so rare to feel represented in politics, and to the opportunity, I don't get to vote in Auckland Central, unfortunately. Or maybe I can because I'm an overseas voter.
No, you could do party vote. I don't know. How does that work, though, if you're overseas?
I'm not sure. I'll find out and I'll report back. But the opportunity to vote for an MP who actually makes you feel represented is, I don't know, not something I'd be willing to give up easily. And the insinuation that your progressive or your leftist vote should go to Helen doesn't really, like, I feel like that you should be arguing the other way. It's like, oh, here's an exciting opportunity to get someone in a seat that Nationals had a strong hold on for a while.
True that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the smart thing to do would be for Labour and Greens to go into it strategically and not run against each other.
Yeah.
But Labour would never do that.
No, they wouldn't, would they?
No.
Speaking of elections,
yes, Todd.
have you guys seen The Lobby?
No, what's that?
Oh, it's real fucking good. It's an Al Jazeera series. I saw the one on the UK a while ago, and it's about the Israeli government lobbying in other countries.
Yeah.
So they got this guy, and he went undercover. He infiltrated like their lobby groups and shit. But he's also done it in the States, and that series is like, it wasn't released, like it got barred from being released in the States, but it's on YouTube. But it just kind of, like, if you've ever wondered how the state of Israel gets away with occupation, murder, all the other evil shit they do, there's lots of answers in these docos, and like it shows it firsthand. Like there's just these people, because he infiltrates them so well. In the American one, some of the lobbyist people ask him to go undercover for them to infiltrate. I forget which group it is. But yeah, it's crazy. Like it's these lobbyists openly talking about how they buy politicians and how they influence media, politicians, how in the States they are lobbying to try and get anti-Zionist sentiment turned into hate speech, turned into anti-Semitic speech by law.
Wow.
Yeah.
You better watch, bite your tongue, Dan. You're in fucking trouble.
They'll fucking lock you up, Dan. But real good series. So if you want to see...
The Lobby.
The Lobby. And if you want to watch the UK one, type in UK. If you want to watch
me and Todd have been listening to a good podcast, haven't we, Todd?
Holy shit.
I started listening last night.
What did you think, Dan?
I was real tired, but it sounded real cool.
So the podcast is called Wind of Change.
Follow the Moskwa down to Gorky Park. Do you know it's funny, like that song hasn't got out my head since I listened. I've finished the podcast.
Yeah, it's been stuck in my head for ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, listeners should check that podcast out. It's one of the better ones I've heard in ages, and it's very interesting. So it's sort of about, I mean, the basic premise is, without giving anything away, is that the CIA wrote the song Wind of Change, which is a Scorpion song. It's like a 80s German hair metal band.
You should know it, depending on your age.
You'll know their one song for sure, though.
Rock You Like a Hurricane.
I don't know the name of it,
Yeah.
They've got a few hits.
Yeah.
But it's just really well made, and it's interesting too because it's all about like the guy that's making it is friends with all these people in the CIA, and I think he's obviously probably got pretty fucking shitty politics. But but because of that, has access to this world that, you know, like most of the sort of media you consume that people wouldn't have, because, you know, they're not associating with CIA agents and whatnot.
It's such a crazy insight to that shit. I don't want to spoil it, but I could. No, it'll spoil it.
So have you listened to the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to the whole thing in one day. I couldn't stop.
Yeah, I did a few days. Did you get emotional in parts, though? Same. It's like, yeah. You know what's funny is, like, at New Year's this year, because we're at the same place we were the year before with the same people, and last year someone got to choose like the countdown song.
Yeah.
And this New Year's just gone, Matt, my brother, chose Winds of Change.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
And it's been in like my because the song's kind of funny, but it's also kind of really moving as well. So it's about the it came out before the Berlin Wall came down,
Yeah.
just before,
Like a month before.
but yeah, so the song is about that feeling of things being about to change, and which
How
is
right
real.
Matt was.
Yeah, yeah, he was right. So yeah, I've actually listened to that song a bit this year, and then when you suggested the podcast, I was like, oh fuck, I'm all in.
Yeah, no, I was listening to it really loudly in the car the other day.
Is it? Yeah, well, because I'm a smoker, if I'm listening to podcasts, I'll wind the window down. Then when I'm next to people, they'll just, it's a bit of a weird, because listening to a podcast feels quite personal.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't want them to.
Especially when it's like some like left-wing podcast where someone's screaming about fucking... another good podcast that I just started listening to is called Champagne Sharks.
I haven't heard that one.
It's by this black guy from New York, and it's like really like he's a Marxist and stuff. Super educated dude, but it's just super interesting, and just like his analysis of what's going on with the BLM movement and what it can mean long term and stuff is super interesting, because obviously he's right in the heart of it,
Yeah. Speaking of Marxism, have you noticed like in the last couple weeks there's been this huge deference to Angela Davis, which is fucking cool.
Yeah, it's so interesting. That's one thing of like the politics that growing up it wasn't even just radical, it was just people just didn't want to fucking know about it. Like if you talk to someone about communism, people think you're fucking crazy,
Yeah.
And now people, it's just really part of the mainstream, like
Yeah.
even if it's not accepted, but it's still, I mean, even on like the Guardian and fucking has like talks about the sort of popularity of Marxism now, and
Yeah.
in, like you say, people quoting Angela Davis, where it's like, I reckon the majority of people 10, 15 years ago wouldn't know who the fuck Angela Davis was,
Yeah. Some New Zealand personality or media figure just did a podcast with her or something.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember who it is. I saw it.
I didn't realise she's still alive until
today.
Recently.
Nor did I. I think I'd assumed that she was dead.
Well, so many of the Panthers are, I guess.
Yeah, for real. But no, she's still going hard by the sounds of it. I've been in a fucking communism rabbit hole. Like, just on YouTube.
Did you read the Communist Manifesto yet?
Nah, that's sitting on my shelf.
It's fucking dense, eh?
Yeah, I've just been on YouTube. Because I wanted to get a deeper understanding of, like at the moment I'm doing the Russian Revolution. Or the
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so interesting. And so I started out looking, I did it a bit backwards. I looked at Lenin first, then I looked at Marx, then I looked at Stalin, then I looked at Trotsky. I haven't finished the Trotsky one yet, actually. But yeah, and when I've finished that, I feel like I might go research the French Revolution.
You should look up the Paris Commune.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It's when they basically, I think they were mainly anarchists, took over Paris. So that's when Paris used to be a walled city, like basically a fortress, and they took it over. And I can't remember for how long. It was for a while though, and they held it, and then the army came in and murdered everyone. But apparently it was really incredible, and so much of the hierarchy and strata of society just fell away almost immediately. And I think a lot of people surmise, because that's happened other times, like in the Spanish Revolution and stuff, how quickly hierarchies fall away, that so much energy and time in our society currently is put into maintaining those, and that there's this kind of idea that they're innate, but really they have to be maintained constantly to work.
Yeah. fuck, you bring me to an interesting point. Like, one of the docos I was watching, was the one about Marx, but there was this German guy talking, and this was recent footage. They're talking to this German guy, and he was speaking about, Marx's concepts of labor and proletariat and that. And he was like, our labor has changed a lot. And he was like, now our labor is often when we feel like we're doing nothing. So, being on the internet, providing data, and that whole idea, which I'd love to explore further, which we might be able to do on our bonus episode. But yeah, that was super interesting. And the idea of reclaiming our labor and it belonging to us, because it's been, being taken by the ruling class in a real insidious way.
Dan's part of the ruling class, now he's a landowner. You hear that, Dan?
I heard it.
You better buck your ideas up, mate.
Well, they're bucked.
Yeah, get ready to sleep in and to not own your house anymore once the revolution's
hard out. Dan doesn't mind a bit of fucking sleeping, and sometimes I suspect when he wasn't there when I came to do the recording, he was actually asleep.
Probably.
If this story were true, that might be true.
Because sometimes the car would be in the driveway, but then he wouldn't be answering the door.
Are you guys well informed on the quarantine bungling? Or or however you'd like to describe it.
I mean, I think that it's because basically they're saying, oh, we didn't know, and this is a fuck up of whatever the department is who's in charge of it, the health department or whatever. But I knew that they weren't testing everyone that was coming in, because I heard from people that they weren't. So it's really hard for me to believe that I somehow knew, but the government didn't realise. Yeah. It's just weird because they got the capabilities to test it. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, some people were speculating that maybe it's because they were getting so much pressure to loosen things up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That they were like, oh, fuck it. Like, looks like we're good now. Because everyone's so relaxed here now, even though obviously there are still active cases.
But, you really are through the worst of it, right?
But, I mean, it would only take one of those cases to get it out to the general population. I mean, I think that's the other thing, because not many people have died here, and I think so far it's only been older people, whereas I think that if there'd been younger people dying in greater numbers, I think it would be taking a lot more, because that's what people have said in accounts I've read in Spain and Italy. They're saying at first no one took it seriously, and then there's that really harrowing thing that someone said. It's like, at first everyone knew someone that had it, and then everyone knew someone that died, and then it's like, that's when it really hit home.
Sometimes, because I still see people trying to play down the seriousness of it. It's approaching 500,000 deaths now worldwide, which is pretty fucking insane.
That'll be nothing to the amount of fucking early risers I'll be killing after revolution.
But
yeah, it's madness. If you would have said fucking a year ago, it's like that number of people are going to die from this disease. I mean, it would just seem, it would just be like, oh my God, it would be chaos. The world would come together to fight it. And I guess to some extent they have, but it just shows how powerful capital is and how strong misinformation and propaganda and all that, that no one trusts anyone anymore,
Nah, well, yes, I still see, so many people trying to insist on these conspiracies, and and people from New Zealand as well, and it's like, well, your conspiracy has been proven wrong, because they are trying to get things back to normal as quickly as possible.
Yeah, hard out.
They don't want to fucking deal with a pandemic. They want it done.
Capitalists want to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because there's this idea they want to get us under control. It's like, you're already under fucking control.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
Try and fucking do something that they don't want you to do and see what happens,
Yeah, I saw someone's like argument the other day. I didn't respond to them, but that was the real salient response. Was like, the thing you're arguing they're trying to make happen already exists, already happens, and has been happening for ages. Like, so yeah.
Should we wrap it up? What's the time, Dan? Where are we at?
Hour.
Boom. Do you notice how good I am at doing that?
Very good.
Do you just look at the?
One skill that I have.
Do you look at the clock?
No, I just know. I can
Oh.
tell. I can
think-
tell because Dan starts getting fidgety at about 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think important to note. We didn't touch on it during the episode, but on nearly the 10-year anniversary of that 15-year-old kid, P. Cameron, who got stabbed to death for tagging, and the dude did like 8 months in jail. There was that video that came out this week of the dude who got caught tagging. What they do? Burst his esophagus.
Something horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a video, and I'm sure lots of our listeners have seen it. And I think a lot of people I kind of know or follow like actually know the dude, so it felt kind of somewhat personal and close. I don't know him, I should state, but I guess these things just do feel that way. The kid P. who got killed was Māori. This guy was Māori. Police, just fucking beating people for tagging a wall. It's crazy. And response from like a lot of the public that's like, well, you shouldn't be tagging. Just so fucking infuriating. So, I don't know. Sending
Well, that's class right there, right? Because, like, either you got like, like fucking middle class people, like basically signing off on the fucking beating or death of poor people, or you got poor people that are too fucking stupid to realize it's like they're gonna do that same shit to you, if you transgress in some way, and that might be just driving down the road at the wrong fucking time, or you might get pissed and make too much noise and your neighbor calls the cops. It's like, yeah,
for
it's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, I guess like sending love to people who are close to that guy. It's a pretty fucking awful thing to experience.
He's all right though, eh?
Yeah, he's in hospital. Like, they fucked him up. But yeah, I think he's gonna.
Esophagus, man. Fuck.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was possible to happen.
Yeah, it's such a like violent injury, right?
Well, I watched a little bit of the video. I had to turn it off because I find that shit so disturbing. But there's like 5 of those fucking cops.
Yeah, and it's the same week where, like, sad to say, but that policeman got murdered. It was the first one in over a decade. And I guess, like, for all the people who are wanting change around how policing occurs, that's pretty terrifying because, like, this is the worst fucking timing ever.
Hard.
But it's just like, yeah, that's a very rare occurrence. But the occurrence of the police abusing their power is fucking constant, and it's everywhere.
Yep. Dan's going to do something about it. He's not sure what yet.
And for listeners who want some deep fucking revelatory insights into policing, boy, do we have a fucking episode for you next week.
Yep. Dan, it's a Dan only episode.
Yeah.
You must have had some run-ins with the cops when you were a drug addict, Dan.
No.
You didn't have any?
Young.
What were you doing when you were young? I bet you were doing a lot of petty crime.
Pretty much.
Skateboarding.
What kind of things?
Dumb stuff like.
Oh, you used to be a professional skateboarder, didn't you?
Not professional.
Semi-professional.
Not many people know, but Dan was like at one time considered the best vert skater in all of New Zealand.
It's me.
Him and Jeff Sanders.
They called him the Tony Hawk of Nelson.
They called me Andrew Morrison.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
What else did you get arrested for? Pissing in
Drunk and
public?
shit. Probably.
You've been very
My friend
coy,
got
Dan.
tased for pissing in public in Auckland.
You did?
Did you?
No, my friend got tased for pissing
on the dick?
Nah, I wish.
True, Dan. I wonder if we can find your criminal record online. You can, eh?
I've got mine, but that's not Dan's, obviously.
I wonder if I know what I could do. I could put you in for a police check through work and then figure out, they'll tell me all your crimes.
True.
Yeah. You got to pay for it, though.
It's not that much, I don't think. I'll be willing to pay for it. Get to the bottom of what he's been up to.
Speaking on this topic, there was another incident in Australia with a cop today where they tased this guy in the face who was like kneeling, and
Just some normal shit to do.
yeah, he was just like kneeling and surrendered, and he tased him in the face. And there's all these people like in the comments now. The new one I'm noticing is they're like, why do you think it's coincidental? There's always a camera on hand, eh? And it's like, fucking hell, man. Like, they think it's a conspiracy that cops are getting filmed doing this shit. It's like, there's a million instances. Also, everyone has a cell phone. Also, the citizens are essentially the employers of the cops. And it is like, analogy, it's like if you got sent into your boss's office to do your work and he is just watching you all day. That's what's happening to the police at the moment, and they don't care. They're still fucking doing what they do.
I think that they're probably in the situation where they're feeling really overexposed, so they're just going hard and being like, fuck it, we're going to get away with it anyway, you know, and just seeing if they can. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that case with that dude tagging and that assault that the cops did, and if anything comes of that, and because there must be a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, well, I think cause for another march, I reckon.
Or we could have a rally at Dan's house. Apartment
5.
Yeah,
The ever-changing apartment address.
in Onehunga Valley.
Alright, should we wrap this one up,
Yeah.
fellas?
Let's get out of here, Dan.
Alright.
Give us the outro music. And the sound of a seal clapping.
That I can do.